Hey everyone, Scott here, and this is my Apple iPhone 11 Pro. I've had this thing since the launch date in September of 2019, and I rocked it for 3 years. This was my daily driver from 2019 until, I believe, 2022, and I replaced it eventually with an iPhone 14 Pro. But yeah, the fact that I've had this thing for 3 years, or I used it for 3 years, tells you everything you need to know about how much I liked it. It was just a good phone all around, very dependable, very reliable. And actually in 2025, it's January 2025 when I'm recording this, and it's still extremely useful. I use it as a backup phone for recording video and just messing around with different apps and just trying different things that I wouldn't want to do on my main phone. And it's great. It's held up great. I've had it in a case, and you can see it's in pretty much perfect condition. Got fingerprints all over the back. My hands are sweaty because I'm on a bike ride right now, hence the reason for the woods. But anyway, yeah, it's been a great camera. Or sorry, I'm looking at the camera now, and that's what I'm thinking of, which I'll talk about in a moment. But it's been a great phone, and it's held up remarkably well. I have dropped it a couple times, but you can't even really see any scratches. There's no scratches on the back. There's no scratches on the screen. You can't even, the screen was never protected, and you can see that there's no scratches. And the fact that I kept this thing in my pocket, front pocket, back pocket, threw it on the desk, in the drawer, and there's no scratches, just amazing. This thing has held up so well. But anyway, the point of this video is to go over the pros and cons of what it was like to live with this thing for 3 years, and the fact that I'm still using it today. So I've got a lot of experience with this thing, so let's just get into the pros. First of all, durability. I think that's the number one thing that I loved most about this. It just kept going. I used this thing for hours and hours every day for 3 years. Even though I kept it in a case, you would expect it to be in pretty good shape, and it is in really good shape. The cameras aren't even scratched. The screen isn't scratched. It's held up really, really well. So yeah, that's the biggest thing that I can't say enough good things about that. Another thing that I really like, a huge pro, is the camera. This is an 11 Pro, and the cameras are indeed pro. I think the thing that I like the most about the camera is the video, just the video features in general, and the image stabilization. It's just incredible. Image stabilization could be its own pro. It's just shooting video on an iPhone. It's just so silky smooth. And as a matter of fact, I'm shooting this video on another iPhone, which I'll review eventually, but it's the same image stabilization. It's actually even better now that I think of it. But anyway, its image stabilization on the 11 Pro was excellent. And that's what was one of the things that led me to get this thing, because I was shooting a lot of video at the time, and I needed something that would shoot silky smooth video. Another thing that I really like is the fact that software, it's remained stable. It's silky smooth to this day, 2025, which makes this thing almost 5 years old. I'm just doing the math in my head here. It's a little over 5 years old, going on 6 years, and it's still completely smooth. I mean, everything loads really quick. Scrolling is not an issue. It's quick, snappy, clear. So yeah, no complaints. Another thing that I really like is voice quality. So when you're recording audio, or you're on a phone call or whatever, it was a huge step up from my previous phone, which was let's see if I can get this. Oh, I gotta go over. Okay. It was a huge step up from my iPhone 6S. So yeah. Anyway, more pros. I think those are the big ones. Design is really nice. I like how small it is. I know people don't like small phones these days, but this one is, it fits in my hand really nice. I can get to pretty much everything with my thumb. Get to all four corners here. It's not that bad. So it's a good size. So yeah, let's get into the cons now. I think the biggest con, now that I'm looking at this outside in the light, brightness can be a little bit I don't know, it may not be bright enough for me. Turn up the brightness there. I mean, that helps. But I guess the default setting, if you have it on auto brightness, it gets a little bit dark sometimes. That was never really an issue for me, but sometimes when I'm outside like this, you have to go out into the settings and manually change the brightness. So I'm gonna leave that all the way up for now. Another con is the design, which I know I just said I liked a lot, but this thing is slippery. It's got, I think these are stainless steel rails on the sides here. And the fact that they're round makes it very, very slippery, and there's really nothing to grab onto. It'll fall out of your hands really easy. And I think that's one of the reasons why I had this thing in a case for its entire life. It was a silicone case, and it helped, you know, it helped eliminate the drops that eventually happen. I did drop this thing a bunch, but it was in the case, and it held up well. Let's see, another con, maybe low light video and image quality. It's much better than a GoPro, let's say compared to a GoPro Hero 4 or Hero 5. Actually, all the GoPros for that matter. But, you know, it's just, when you get into low light, it's not that great for photos or videos. Let's see, another con, storage space. Storage space was expensive on this thing. I think this is a 256 gig version. It's been a while. I think all my iPhones are 256 gig. That's my default purchase, and it's just not enough because I like to store all of my photos on the device. And you know, it may not be an issue if you're doing or you're storing everything in the cloud, but for me, I like having everything on device. So yeah, that was kind of a con because storage space is expensive on the iPhone. It always has been, and it was especially expensive on the iPhone 11 Pro. I'm having a hard time coming up with cons for this thing. Maybe another con would be the proprietary lightning port down here in the bottom. I mean, it was 2019 when this thing came out. It should have been USB-C, but it wasn't. Apple was being stubborn, and it's lightning. And to this day, you know, I still have. I can never find my lightning cables to charge iPhones. But now I've switched to wireless charging pretty much for all my devices. Another pro of this thing would be wireless charging. This was one of the first iPhones, I believe, that had wireless charging. And this charges pretty quick on a wireless charger. That's how I charge it these days. I don't even use the lightning port anymore. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the only con. Here in 2025, support is winding down for the iPhone 11. I believe I'm still getting updates. I am on the latest version of iOS, but this may be the last year. I don't know, but I'm still using it, and that's a good way to go into the conclusion of all this, is to say that here in 2025, this thing is 6 years old. I am still using this thing on a daily basis. It's not my daily driver anymore, but it still has a great camera by 2025 standards, and yeah, if I'm out here on my bike shooting videos or something and I don't want to use my main iPhone, my good iPhone, I'll put this thing in a case and shoot videos with this along with my GoPro. Everything else too, I love this thing. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm keeping it. It's been a great iPhone, one of my favorite iPhones maybe. Not the favorite, but one of the favorite. And yeah, that's an overview of the iPhone 11 Pro, pros and cons. If you have any questions or comments, do leave them down below. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one.